I am Worf, son of Moog, House of Martok, son of Sergei, House of Roshenko, bane to the Duras family, slayer of Gowron.
Worf. Howdy all, I am Adam the Renaissance Nerd, and welcome to my review of Picard Season 3, Episode 3, 17 Seconds. Oh, well, last week, when we got into this, I said I feel the Star Trek, I feel what Terry Matalas is trying to do, and I still feel it. Again, just to reiterate the overall understanding of this doesn't save Star Trek. I see this little thing as an I'm sorry that you had to suffer all the crap. Here's the best I can do. Signed, Terry Matalas. I still see the love and I see the care. A lot of little Easter eggs here and there, a lot of lines, a lot of moments. Yes, some Kurtzman Trek still slips in very sillily and stupidly, but we ignore it. We have to ignore it. It's the only way you can really enjoy this is ignoring it. But as I said, this doesn't save Star Trek. It's just a Band-Aid. And this hasn't earned my trust in the franchise going forward. I'm simply in the moment, enjoying this, looking forward to it, smiling, not feeling like I'm wasting my time watching something. That being said, I am enjoying this. After this episode, I am annoyed that I have to wait a week to see what happens next and confirm whatever theories are bubbling around in my brain. Last week, we were left with what I called our Wrath of Khan moment when the Titan A is being chased by the Shrike into a nebula. And I thought, hey, we're going to get little cat and mouse, little hide and seek, just like with Khan. No, Terry Matalas completely subverted it. Think of it like this as we get started now. What happens? What would have been like if Khan had been able to track the Enterprise in Wrath of Khan? What would that have been like? Well, in this episode, you find out. The nebula does not provide protection. The nebula is a trap, almost. It's a trap that Vedic uses to keep the Titan ensnared until she gets what she wants. That being Jack. And within this episode, the mystery of why Jack is desired by the Shrike, Vedic, and her employers. We find out who her employers are. I was right in one sense there last week. Vedic is our thug. She is not the big bad. She's the one who's been hired, as far as I can tell. She's the one serving others. And it's a good little plot twist. I should have seen it coming. All the clues were there in the previous two episodes. Should have seen it coming, but maybe I'm not thinking hard enough, but now I am trying to think. As opposed to also what's going on in this nebula. Also, what is Jack? There's a moment where Jack maybe tuned into something else. We don't know. Either way, this is not the episode I expected. It's not the ending I expected. And some of the character interactions are really solid. And it's doing what Star Trek does. It's giving you both sides and letting you make the choice when it comes to these interactions. So, without further ado, engage.
One of the few ways my dad and I are alike. We have a hard time making friends. But when we do, we know their value.
As with last week, Terry Matalas has thankfully given us an uncomplicated episode format. A plot, B plot, but unlike last week where I could separate them in order to get the review done, I can't. We have to march to the beat of the episode because the A plots and the B plot, they're coming together by the end of the episode. Therefore, I must go with the story. No breaking it up. So let's go. Let's get into it. The Shrike, as I said at the beginning of the review, is pursuing the Titan into the nebula, beating the ever-living hell out of her. They don't know what to do. All they can do is dodge at the moment. Shaw, for a moment, they managed to sort of lose the Shrike. They sort of do. And we're going to get back to that later. Shaw shows his some of his composure as a captain. He's able to recognize that he needs to keep the crew rotation going. Tells everybody to take a break, especially Sidney LaForge. I believe it's Sidney LaForge. Tells Sidney, you're off duty. Go take a break. You've been up for 36 hours. And then we get a look at the rest of the crew. They're damaged. They're hurt. They're angry. They're frightened. And we get a shot of sickbay where Jack's helping Beverly back there. But then one of the crew members gives a dirty look and says something mean to Jack. It's your fault. And Jack knows it, and it hurts him. But Beverly says, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. They're going to need us. Let's just do what we can to help out now." And then we're going to cut to a flashback. It says before. We don't know how long ago it is. It's got to be a while ago because based upon the inferences of the events, it's shortly after Nemesis. It has to be something because they've de-aged Frakes and Stewart. They de-aged them massively. And the uniforms are different too. They're variations of the gray shoulder uniform. At least Riker's wearing one. Anyway, they're celebrating, Picard and Riker are celebrating the birth of Riker's son, who we know is destined to die in this Kurtzman Trek crap. The two of them are really, it's that bonding moment of two old friends. And it's kind of a little amusing moment where Picard keeps going on and on with the toast. And you could see you could see Riker trying to just get to the drink and interject it, but then they have their little jokey time, but we get to the core of the title of the episode. Here in the beginning, episode title, as you saw before, 17 seconds. Riker tells the story of when his son was being born on the Titan, how there were complications, and he was told to come to sickbay. And the 17-second ride on the turbolift was the longest of his life, because he was afraid, am I going to miss this? Is somebody going to die if I don't get there in time? But then he gets there and he learns what the instantaneous feeling of you are now father. You're holding this life in your hands. It's yours to protect. It's no longer just about you. It's about this little thing that you have to protect, this child. And right away, good dad moment. Riker wants to be a good dad. He wants to protect. And I appreciate that. Again, we know it's rare to get good dad stuff in our entertainment these days. So there it is, tiny little bit of good dad. Picard tells him, you're going to be a good father. You're going to be a great father. You're going to do great things. And then Riker says, I hope one day you can understand this feeling as well, this joy. And it cuts out. And as they cut out, you see the regret that Picard knows, I'm old. I'm probably never going to have that feeling ever. Now we're back in the present. As I said, Shaw is basically overlooking the damage to the Titan, really wondering what could go wrong next. And we already said Sydney's been dismissed from duty for a moment to go take a break. And we cut to Seven's quarters, where she's under house arrest because she defied orders. She was insubordinate. She's going to be brought up on charges. She's not, even though they're in a crisis situation, they're not letting her out. Shaw's not letting her out. And we get a little nice quick shot. You can see it there. Little Voyager miniature. 7. Okay, we accept that. We like that. I like that. I'm okay with it. It's fun. There's a knock at the door. Security officer outside lets Sydney stand at the doorway to talk to 7. And we get a great little thing. I showed you in the transition clip. Sydney is great. I like Sydney. Great introduction of a character connected to a legacy character. She's a bundle of positive energy, and it's an excellent addition. She basically, in a nutshell, says to 7, what you did for friendship. You're in here for friendship. As Geordi LaForge's daughter, I share my father's lack of ability to make close friends. And he taught me when you make friends and you have them, they mean something. And it also means something to make your choices, to do something when everybody's telling you not to do something. And she relates the story of how she chose to be a pilot over an engineer, and everybody basically claimed nepotism that she gets her assignment because she's Geordi LaForge's daughter. And she basically tells 7, you stick to your guns. You did the right thing because friends are important. Because they're basically like family. And I believe in you. And it's not this whammons affirmation crap. It's truly somebody trying to be friends with somebody. Trying to show them that you're not alone. And I like it. And Seven just smiles. Like, yeah, okay. Thank you. And then Sydney goes. And that I like that. It's great. It's introducing a new character. And again, like as with Jack, seamlessly meshing them with legacy characters from other shows, other stories, and it's good stuff, and I really appreciate it. Because now we're going to get to heavy legacy character stuff. Something after Leslie, we need this next scene. We need it. We cut to sickbay where Beverly's trying to do her job as a doctor, help out. And the doctor, the trill doctor of the ship, she's a bit of a little, like, what are you doing here? Medical technologies advanced from 20 years since you were here. Come on. I think we're going to trust the veteran doctor, Beverly Crusher, to get the job done. And Beverly does a good job helping out. And what happens now is, though, we get Riker and Picard heading in there. And we get the moment we've been waiting for since last episode. Picard and Beverly alone together. And we get the why. The why, the reason she had to leave.
As a mother, your whole being is about protecting your child. I thought I could protect mine. I didn't know if I could protect yours.
Now, I didn't know this until I saw the credits of the episode, but this episode was directed by Frakes. Personally, I've always enjoyed Frakes as a director, and especially when he's working with his TNG castmates. He knows how to get them to perform. He knows how to shoot the scene. And I really liked this scene between Picard and Beverly. One, as the scene progresses, you can see right here, this is how the scene starts. They're completely far apart. The great distance between them in the scene. And they just are at odds because Picard doesn't understand it and Beverly tries to explain it. And there's just raw emotion throughout all of this. And Frakes brilliantly captures it visually, and he gets the right performance out of both Stewart and McFadden. At the same time, as the scene goes on, as we change scenes when they're talking to each other, they get closer and closer and closer. Great visualization of bridging the gap of this 20-year distance that has been created between them. What goes on in this? Basically, Picard asks why. Why did you do this? And Beverly gives an explanation that, and again, this is what I said at the beginning of the review, why this feels like a Star Trek episode. What Star Trek does, it gives you the story from all perspectives, and it doesn't judge. It leaves it to you, the viewer, to judge what something was right or wrong. And right now, it is left to us to decide who is more right in this, Beverly or Picard. Picard is upset that she broke it off so suddenly because while she says we were done as a couple, he said, I didn't think so. We had been on and off again. Apparently, had been on and off again for a bunch of times. They would break up and come back together. But he said, I didn't know we were done. I still basically loved you. And I felt that I felt hurt that you left without a word. And I kept wondering, what did I do wrong? How did I break us up? And she goes on to describe what it was like when they were together, how every time they would start to settle down, the galaxy would call. There would always be an interruption, this or that. And she lists a bunch of events, all of them life-threatening to Picard. And she reveals that on their last night together, he got one past the goalie. He got one past the goalie. And she realized that suddenly she had to protect this child. Because she knows that in It's in the blood of a Picard to go out into that galaxy and basically attract danger and adventure. And she wanted to keep this child safe from that because there was always going to be a problem. And you saw in the clip there, she says, when you're a mother, it's your job, your one and only job to protect your child. They are above you and everything else. And I thought I could protect a Crusher, but I didn't think I could protect a Picard. Because no matter what, the skeletons in Jean-Luc's closet will come back to haunt them. And there's evidence for that. In original TNG, the episode where he has the fake son, the guy who thinks he's the son but had his DNA manipulated to look like he was Picard's son, and he was used in a ploy to try and kill Picard. So there is lore evidence, and Metalis knows this because he gets it, he understands it. To have that if you have the Picard name, everything Jean-Luc has done, there's going to be danger always. Then on the flip side, Picard fires it right back at her and says, but you never gave me a chance. You just up and left. You had no right to do that. I might have made a different decision if you had told me you were pregnant. I could have had a chance to be a father, a husband. And maybe, just maybe, I would have said, Galaxy, no. My family's going to come first, just like what Riker said in the flashback. You realize suddenly it's not about you, it's about the child, it's about the family. And they're at odds over this. And it's a fascinating debate. And it's left to us to decide who was right, who was wrong in this. Because there's clearly still a connection there. There's still feelings. I see it. I see feelings in this interaction, both of them, regret and all that kind of stuff, and I love it. And again, I was always a Picard Crusher fanboy. I always wanted that to happen ever since season 1 episode where everybody gets infected by the lust disease, and when everybody wants to get horny, and they had that moment where they almost jumped each other's bones when they were trying to focus on it and fix it. I thought, oh damn, I like this, and I always wanted more. And they teased us for 7 seasons and almost gave us something in season 7, but then didn't quite do it and then abandoned it in the movies. So I'm happy to see this, even though they're old, but I like it and I want it. The fanboy in me wants it. And I appreciate the attention given to this relationship that didn't get enough attention, didn't get a proper conclusion. And that's why we say, all of us who've been watching this have said, those who have finished it, those of us now into it, I appreciate what Terry Matalas is doing. I appreciate what he's doing by giving us some closure on some storylines that never got proper closure. And you needed Jonathan Frakes to direct this episode, to direct this scene. Somebody who probably understands that this is an important relationship in TNG. And he understands it. And it follows up. And again, next scene, we move into the hallway where Jack is pacing around and Riker's just leaning up against the wall going... And Jack's going, what are you looking at me for? Don't look at me like that. And Riker goes, I've been looking at you for decades. I watched you before you were even you. I watched the build up to you, and I'm enjoying this because I see your father in you. He goes, no, don't call me my father. Don't call him my father. He's just whatever. He's not my father. And they have a nice little quick conversation of, no, he's your father, and you need to give him a chance. And he says, I don't know if I can because he's the legend, all the history. What if it doesn't measure up? And Riker says, doesn't matter. He's still your dad. And it's a nice little moment where they start to bond a little bit, I think, as ancillary members of this TNG family. But then we cut back into the Crusher and Picard discussion, and now they're closer together. They're closer together. They've closed the gap in their relationship again. And Picard asks, "Why didn't you tell him about me?" She says, "I did. When Jack was old enough, I told him about you, and I gave him the choice, but he chose not to go see you. And now we understand that Jack was afraid of. We see the idea that Jack, and maybe we'll get more of this. We see the idea that Jack was afraid that maybe the great Jean-Luc Picard would be something more than, well, what he would find wouldn't measure up. And maybe he was afraid of that. Maybe we'll get more of that. But then we get to the nitty-gritty of this. Picard asks Beverly, why are they hunting you? What's going on here? And Beverly goes, I don't know. Beverly doesn't know. At least I take it as genuine. I don't think she knows why. And she lays out the exact same story that Jack has said. It started at a certain point. They got hassled. Then they ran away after these Rangers, whatever they are called. And then they got hassled again, then by Klingons, and then by Starfleet. And every time they were attacked by different people. And that's what she said, trust no one. And then in the end, only person she could trust was him, Picard. And then, and you start to, and then if you've been paying attention, and I admit I wasn't, the wheels should be turning. Who or what could make such a move to constantly come at you with different assailants? I don't want to give it away quite yet if you haven't figured it out. It was starting to dawn on me, and then the reveal when it happens, it's like, oh, of course. But it's now the mystery of why is Jack important. That is still the core mystery. But we've got these great themes now. You've got the theme of family introduced. What's important? But at the same time, choices. What could have been? Giving people the opportunity to make a choice. Picard then leaves. Okay, says, I got to get to the bridge. We have to figure this out now. Problem is, as he leaves, Will goes, what happened? He goes, it doesn't matter. It's done. We're never going to be a family. He's never really going to want to look at me as a son. Beverly and I are never going to get together. And Riker's going, come on. You have to do this. He's your son. You can't let these moments slip away. But Picard says, no, I can't deal with this now. We're in trouble. I got to go to the bridge and apologize to Shaw for getting in there. Problem is, as soon as they get to the bridge, the Shrike finds the Titan again and unleashes unholy hell upon them. And the Shrike gets beat up to hell even more. You got your classic Star Trek bridge rocking around, explosions, people flying. Shaw gets thrown. He gets injured really badly. And he's pissed off. He goes, this is your fault to Riker, but now it's on you. He transfers command to Riker. And you wonder, why didn't he transfer to Picard? Because Picard's retired and Riker is still an active captain. So now Riker is in command. Captain pro temp of the Titan. And now you get to see Captain Riker in action. We've never really seen Captain Riker in action. And immediately he shifts from happy-go-lucky Will Riker that we've seen sort of so far, kind of just going with the flow, to, okay, I'm in command, let's do something. And the atmosphere changes, the mood changes, and we get a really cool scene. Him and Picard work together. He comes up with an idea, let's fire a photon torpedo, but blast that thing before it hits the Shrike, create a concussion wave, and they do it. And Picard's like, already on it, boom, 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 and it's a really cool moment. Problem is, as I said, we've never seen Captain Riker before. We don't know what he's like. And his life experiences may have given him a certain perspective of caution. And going forward, this is not Commander Will Riker, the runner and the gunner. This is Captain Will Riker with all his life now in front of him and behind him. And while he is clearly a more experienced captain than Shaw, he takes on the same feeling of Shaw's, okay, we are now prioritizing safety and escape. Whereas we're going to see Picard wants to go on offense. Could be some debate about that, about is that Picard or not. Well, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Either way, we now shift to the B plot for the first time. And we're only going to spend a couple seconds with this because the B plot doesn't really matter until the final moments of the episode. But I'll give you our moment of Worf.
Beheadings are on Wednesdays.
Yeah. Worf. Worf is awesome. I love him. We get introduced to Worf in this scene completely. Raffi wakes up from her high, her intoxication. Tries to get the drop on him, not knowing who he is, what he's doing there. And of course, no, Worf instantly reverses it and gets the drop on her. But then introduces himself in with what you saw. And I had to cut that short. There's another 3 seconds, but there's a little window of what you can put up without getting the algorithm to pick up a claim. He says, "Would you like some tea? I've made some tea. Have some chamomile tea. It's good." And it sets the scene. Now, this scene, everything Worf is great. Everything Raffi is bad. Raffi's annoying. Raffi doesn't fit. Raffi is a reminder of Kurtzman trick, and it's really tedious. Bottom line, and I'm going to condense this all so that we can then move on. I'm condensing. We are going to jump ahead to what they do, because when it happens, it takes place in the middle of the A plot, and then we'll jump to what their resolution is, so that we all come together with it. If that makes any sense, it will in a moment. Basically, Worf says, "I've been tracking these dangers for a long time. I knew you were going to F up and almost get yourself killed. That's why I told you to break off." And she's going, "But I am in this. I need to be blah, 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 blah." He does a little affirmation of her. It's a little annoying. I move past it quickly because I'm just looking at Worf. But then he says, "All right, listen, we're going to work together. I have a lead. There's this dude. Some name doesn't matter. He's a human. We're going to go after him. He's the one that hired the Ferengi who I killed to save your dumb ass." Raffi says, "Okay, fine. Let's do it." We're going to cut ahead now to when they actually are tracking this dude down. Again, Raffi is annoying, trying to say, "Oh, you stand." Worf says, "Oh, you're in a hood. You look conspicuous." She goes, "Oh, you're conspicuous too in your warrior garb." And this little bad joke about this is his casual gear. And it's just, we move past it. They find the guy. They track him down. Worf uses her to corral him to where he can spine bust his ass and capture him. So, long story short, Raffi and Worf have a lead. They find the lead. They capture the lead. They're going to interrogate the lead. And while interrogating the lead, first they think he's going into withdrawal from the drug, the same one Raffi was on. But in the end, or a similar drug, doesn't matter. They think he's going to withdrawal, and they're trying to do this. And Worf does this really great thing of, you're all children. I'm an adult here. I have wizened years. I am not governed by my passions anymore. I've found balance in my older years. And I'm going to try and reason with you. I'm not just going to beat you up. I'm not going to stab you. We're going to find everything. Problem is, none of this is going to work, and you're going to find out why very, very soon. But until then, now we have to shift back to the A plot.
Faddic should be as blind as we are. It might give us a tactical advantage.
No, we should continue to evade until Warp is operational. She's finding us anyway.
Now, remember what I said before when we left A plot before we went to B plot. Captain Riker is different from Commander Riker. And right in that little clip there, you can see he's not thinking about offense. He's thinking about defense. He's thinking about survival. While Picard wants to go on offense. Here now begins the clash of, I guess, leadership styles between them. And it's going to play out for the rest of the episode. A lot's going to happen now in these next couple scenes. There's a lot going on and a lot of hints and this and that. And some of them I'm playing guesswork with before we get to the major reveal. But this scene right here is fascinating because you've got just these conflicting styles now, overlaid with something else that's really, really interesting at the same time. While they're trying to figure out what's going on, they're trying to decide what to do with the nebula. There's this strange pulse they keep passing through that is both electrical and biological. And they ask our Vulcan science officer, yes, that's a Vulcan science officer, they're asking her what's going on here, and she says, I've scanned this the best I can, the nebula, because we're blind as a bat. Again, little references to Khan, and we'll come back to that in a moment. I've scanned the best I can. From what I can understand, there's a gravity well at the center of this nebula, and it's giving off both electrical and biological science. We've never seen anything like this before. Just remember this. We're going to come back to it. I'm going to talk about it a little bit at the end of the review, and let's keep an eye on this going forward. I'm going to keep an eye on this going forward. Either way, now we've got a problem because Picard and Riker are not on the same page anymore. And it's going to affect everything because you will look at how the events play out. If one had maybe gone towards more the other, either way, maybe they wouldn't have lost precious time here or there. I really like the contrast. Again, I like it when we're contrasting this stuff. And again, Star Trek is leaving it to you to decide who is right and who is wrong. And they're not telling you who's right and who's wrong because there's enough room to say, maybe you should have done it this way and this might not have happened when we get to the things that happen at the end of the episode. While they're conferring, though, we cut to the sick bay where Shaw has been taken for injury. Of course, taken for injury. Come on, Adam. Shaw's been taken there for injury. And while Beverly takes full command of this situation and outshines the Trill Doctor, Jack leans close and says, I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. And Shaw just goes, how is she tracking us? How is she tracking us? And now the wheels start turning for Jack because while he's trying to figure this out, we cut to space. And we see, at one point earlier in the episode, we had seen definitely Vadic say to her, one of her alien crew members said, there's a Titan right where we knew it was going to be. So they're tracking them. We don't know how yet. And now here we are. Titan's about to escape the nebula. Warp power is ready. Riker's plan, get out, make a run for it, get to the nearest star base, get reinforcements. Problem is, again, right on cue, there's the Shrike coming up right behind him. Riker says, screw it, gun it. LaForge, gun it. They try to get out of there. But A and B plots are coming together. Vadic fires off the teleporter device. And as Titan starts to get out, boom, it explodes. They go through one, comes out the other. Hello, Daystrom Tech. They try to make a run again. Vadic gets him again, and now they realize they're trapped. They cannot get out of the nebula. Only choice is to go back in, where it's just as dangerous. Problem is, as I said earlier, this isn't Wrath of Khan. Unlike Khan, Vadic can track this ship. And here's another cool thing. I should have mentioned this earlier. Every time they have the Shrike chasing the Titan, they play the music that they play. It's got a hint of Wrath of Khan in it. Listen to it. You'll thank me. It's well done. It's nice and calm. Anyway, they try to make the escape, and it's not working. The Shrike is pelting them. They can't get away. Meanwhile, Jack has tried to get on the bridge to tell them they're tracking us, but we have to figure out how, but no one's listening. The security officer will not let him on, so what does he do? Goes see Seven. Seven's willing to listen. Seven's a nerd. She gets it. They figure out they're leaking a gas from engineering. They have to go check it. Security officer's not going to let him leave, so Jack punches him out. Seven says, you're insane, but we don't have time for this. Let's go. They head to engineering, and now, again, I should have seen this coming. I should have. They go in there. We discover it is indeed sabotage. They have sabotaged this gas pipe. It's leaking it. It's poisonous. They're wearing gas masks. And they've disabled the computer to warn of the leak. We've got a saboteur. Seven goes to prepare to fix it. She alerts command, and now Picard says, we have a saboteur. And now, okay, we've got something on board. And now this is the question. What is going on here? This is a Starfleet crew. This isn't a diplomatic ship like Enterprise D that has civilians on board. This is an exploratory ship. It's all Starfleet. How is this possible? Well, we're going to learn right here. While Jack is waiting for Seven's command to shut everything off and reroute everything, whatever, this dude appears. We've seen him a couple times throughout the episode. And from last episode, he comes in there doesn't even bother to put a mask on and attacks Jack. And then while they're fighting, this happens. I should have seen it coming.
You can't be in here. There's a leak.
Warning. Dangerous level of deuterium exposure. Oxygen required immediately. Warning. Dangerous level of deuterium exposure. Oxygen required immediately.
It's a founder. It's a goddamn founder. Freaking changelings. I should have seen it coming when Jack was saying back in episode 2. Every time we got caught, it was somebody different. But then again, it did not occur to me because I thought, oh, Odo made peace. Odo made peace at the end of DS9 by bringing his experiences to the Great Link. No. Freaking changelings. I was right. At least it seems I was right last week when I said Vedic is not our big bad. She is working for a radicalized group of founders. This is now where the B plot and the A plot come together in this episode. While Jack is fighting for his life, this founder beats the crap out of him, leaves him to die to choke on the poison gas. We get to the B plot where the interrogation is going on. And we quickly learn, and because it goes, you realize right away that the guy that Raffi and Worf are interrogating isn't human. When he starts to speak, there's something different about his voice. Worf puts it together. Worf realizes it's a freaking changeling. He's not going through withdrawal. He's going through he has to return to his gelatinous form, his liquid state. Because, changeling rules. Changelings can only hold a solid shape for X amount of time before they have to revert to liquid form to regenerate. And he has been holding on as long as he could, and finally he's given up. So that's what's happening there. And now as we go back and forth with the reveals here, we learn from Worf that Odo sent him a message. And guys, we're not going to see an Odo cameo because Rene Auberjonois, he passed away a few years ago. So we're only going to get an Odo reference, unfortunately. Odo reached out to him. Doesn't say Odo, just as a good, honorable friend reached out to me that there was a schism in the Great Link. Some of them could not reconcile peace with solids and peace with the Federation. So they broke off and came to the Alpha Quadrant to cause trouble. So we are dealing with a terrorist group of founders who are operating separate from the beginning. The problem is the Federation, if they know this, and this is why Worf wants to keep this on the down low, if they knew this, if it became knowledge that there's a changeling terrorist organization doing this, it could reignite the Dominion War. There you go. And the problem is now, Worf and Raffi realize that the portal tech was just a distraction. The changelings stole something else. And now they're going to head off to Daystrom to find out what it was. Meanwhile, back on the Titan, Jack is dying. While he's dying, he begins to hallucinate. Seven is returned, but as he sees her there, he has a very strange vision of somebody else speaking through the image of Seven. And there's this weird stuff. I don't know what to call it. There's this weird thing behind her that he's seeing, and she's saying, "Find me. Put the pieces together. Find the root," or something. It's creepy. Now we're getting meta here. Who or what is Jack now? I mean, clearly he is the son of Jean-Luc Picard and Beverly Crusher. But what's going on here? What is he connected to? What does he become connected to? We're going to find out. I'm sure we're going to. So now we got a new little wrinkle in here. Seven arrives, rescues him, gets to sickbay. Problem is, Jack is dying. Beverly freaks out, tries to save him, and we get now the call up to the bridge that there's a problem, that Jack is dying, and Will just looks at Picard and says, "Go! What are you waiting for? Go!" And now we get Picard's 17 seconds while he gets down there. And he understands what Will was talking about at the beginning, that now, even though he said earlier their relationship is irreparable, there can't be a relationship. No, there can be. Everybody around, as Beverly saves Jack's life, resuscitates him, there is a chance for family here. Picard understands that now, what Riker said. Thing is, Jack now reveals we got a changeling on board, and now we've all come together. And the problem is the changeling has planted a bomb. Bomb goes off, destroys their ability to go to warp. Picard races back to the bridge as they discover this, and he tries to tell Will, we have to fight. We cannot run anymore. Because what they've done is this. Because Seven disabled the gas, the Shrike can't track them anymore. They had a chance to set a trap for the Shrike. Will said no. We're going to try and fix the warp core. We're going to make a break for it. Picard was going, no. We have the tactical advantage. We need to hit her from behind while she's facing the wrong way, thinking that's where we are. They were at odds with this, and they wasted time for both things. One, it appears they were never going to have a chance to escape because there was no way that bomb was going to be stopped. Jack's resuscitation took too long for him to warn them. That changeling planted the bomb, and now the changeling could be anybody else or anything on the Titan. Bomb does go off. They can't do it. So Will reluctantly says, okay, we're going to go on offense. Problem is, by the time he decides to go on offense, they've run out of time, and the Shrike is ready for them. He says, fire everything, doesn't matter. Shrike uses the teleportation device again and uses the photon torpedoes that Titan fired back on the Titan. And now the Titan is crippled and plummeting into the center of the nebula where the gravitational source is and where the biological source is. And then everybody and now there's a schism between Riker and Picard because Riker turns around and says, get off the bridge. You've killed us all. Picard, without argument, walks away, and then our last shot is of Titan drifting away. And I did forget to mention that Worf and Raffi killed the changeling that they had in custody. They killed it. But that's it. Episode. All right, let's go over things and try and ponder what's going to happen next.
Remove yourself from the bridge. You've just killed us all.
You just killed us. Old friends, buddy cop, working together. Now, though, there's a schism. And I want to see where this goes. Captain Riker is not Captain Picard, is not Admiral Picard. He does things differently. And one could say, did he screw up by not listening to Picard? Did Picard screw up by pushing for too much, by not working with Riker? That's left to our interpretation. If Riker had agreed soon enough to go on the offense, would they have gotten there before the Shrike turned around and could aim the portal weapon to have the photon torpedoes hit them right back? If they had been working, if Picard had agreed with Riker, after the bomb goes off, they could have just hidden because without the gas leak, the Shrike can't track them. It's open to interpretation, and we're going to find out how it plays out. But I really do like the character interactions. I love the Picard Beverly stuff. I like this Picard Riker stuff. I like the growing Jack. I like Sidney LaForge. Seven didn't get to do a lot this episode, but I still like looking at Jerry Ryan. We didn't get a lot of Vadic, but we got the changelings now. Founders. We have our big bads, the ones behind all of this. Rogue changelings. I am excited to see where this goes. I'm enjoying it. Again, this doesn't save Star Trek. This doesn't repair the damage, but it's at least something in the moment. If you just stay in the moment, you can enjoy it. I hope that you watch us and do that. Now, it's not to say this is perfect. While there are a lot of fun things in this, a lot of good Easter eggs, the nice things, why this another version of the Wrath of Khan climax finale, the chase in the nebula, a what if, kind of what happens if they can track you, you can't hide, and it's not even playing ground. But and you get the music in there, and a lot of good stuff. The reintroductive changeling, that's good, but this isn't perfect. It's still not perfect. The dialogue at times can still be very rough. There should be no cussing in Star Trek. Raffi is horrible. While she has now given us Worf, in terms of introducing Worf, she still is not a good character. She's frustrating to watch. Complaining about her substance abuse and her wrecked family. I don't care about this character. I'm there for the TNG crew and the new characters that properly fit in the legacy. Sydney properly fits. Jack properly fits. Seven, even though she's a transplant from Voyager, she does fit because she's a legacy character. I don't care about Rafaela. She is not engaging to me. And she is the drawback of this right now. And her dialogue is the worst. And sometimes other people's dialogue does track a little bit. There's still a few modern day colloquialisms kind of sift in there sometimes. That's the writer's fault. Clean that shit up. Terry Metalis, well, it's over now, but you gotta clean that shit up. Give it another reread. Make sure it doesn't sound like you're walking down the street in a 2023 city. But you can kind of push that aside because there's a lot more good than there is bad in this. And there's a lot more interesting stuff. What is at the center of this nebula? There's something biological there. As the Titan is drifting into the center, we see debris. We see rocks. That's large rocks, as big as that shit, possibly bigger. There's something there. Of course, that's how they're going to get out of this. But what are the relationships going to be like after this? Picard and Riker, are they going to find a way to repair this? Where are Picard and Beverly? Where's Seven in all this? Seven building new relationships with other characters. I want to see what happens. I'm engaged. I'm excited. I can't wait till next week. I want to see the next episode. I don't want to wait. I want it now. But I have to wait. And you'll have to wait too. I hope you enjoyed this. And I hope that if you are enjoying this and that maybe you want to just experience it for yourself, go watch it yourself. And then next week, watch episode 4 and then watch my review and see where I fall on how you see things. This has all been fun stuff. I like the addition of changelings. I should have seen it coming, but I still like it. It's fun. It's part of Star Trek lore. It's good stuff. And I really hope that the show continues to deliver. Anyway. Thank you again for watching. Hit that like button if you did enjoy yourself. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel. And I will see you guys next week with episode 4. Until then, take it easy. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you'd like to reach out to me, please email me at theranernerd@gmail.com for all channel business purposes. I am on Twitter now, mostly for promotion and sharing of videos. Maybe a little shit stirring here and there. Who knows? @theranernerd. You can also find me at the Geeks and Gamers forums under @ROAS, and you can see me on Rumble and Odyssey under the Renaissance Nerd. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy.